that step towards your fear is the step into bravery.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. If you don't fail, you're not even trying."
We're afraid when we don't face reality. The more we try to avoid the inevitable, the more likely the inevitable is going to be. You're going to get hurt. I wasn't born to be wrapped up in bubble wrap and a blanket and sit on the couch and tremble as the world goes by outside my door. I want the world to tremble when I go by its door.
Fear is never reaching your potential.
That's it.
That always falling short, always quitting before you're done, always procrastinating, always not doing the right thing. And then one day you're an old man.
Yep.
And you look back and go, God, I could have been great.
Yep.
I could have been great.
So what keeps me going? I've quit several things. I know what's on the back end of fucking quitting. It's a lifetime of thinking about why the fuck did I do that?
If you had the opportunity to play this game of life, you need to appreciate every moment. A lot of people don't appreciate their moment until it's past.
If I could go back to that moment and just not be afraid, just recognize that look, whatever could be out there, I could have it.
The other thing that's so interesting about being alive is that you're all in. No matter what you do, you're all in. This is going to kill you. So I think you might as well play the most magnificent game you can while you're waiting, because do you have anything better to do?
Regardless of how I fucking feel and how depressed I am, the sun is gonna fucking shine in the morning. And at nighttime, the moon gonna be there. And you're gonna look up, these days gonna keep going by. So do you let the days go by and look up and you done wasted a year doing what? Or do you just pick it up? All right, I figured it out, made some mistakes, life goes on. You figure out life from this point.
And my biggest fear, honestly, was, let's say this. Let's say, I don't care if you believe in God or not. I don't care. Let's just play a game with me. Let's say you're God. And we have a big fucking long line of people. And I made it to heaven. I'm 75 years old. I'm 300 pounds. I made it to heaven. I worked for Ecolab my entire life, spraying for cockroaches. That's what I did. But I'm dead. I'm in heaven now. And you're judging us all now. So we're in line. We're all sitting there in line. And you have Adam Brown. He has a big board up. And you're talking to Adam Brown about his life. And you rip it down. And I'm next in line. David Goggins. I see my name. And I see all this shit. And God goes, hey, you say, read this, man. And I'm reading this list. And I'm seeing 182 pounds, Navy SEAL, Ranger School, motivational speaker, changing lives. Okay, man, pull up record, all this shit. And I'm like, that's not me, man. And God looks at me and says, that's who you were supposed to be. At the end of the day, I asked myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting. So a lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take two steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step, so if I choose not to, that's on me. And I got to live with that. Most people think I'm just some animal who runs and yells and just says "in mother" all the time. And that's nowhere near the truth. That's maybe what they see in a 1-minute video, and that's what we believe. But there's a lot of thought behind a person being a born loser, becoming who I am today. You don't just wake up and just rocky. You gotta wake up and think about, there's a process to getting better. For me, I built Goggins from the ground up. I was born David Goggins. David Goggins wasn't good enough. He was a scared, bullied, abused kid. That kid, whenever something got tough, no matter how hard I trained, no matter how ready I was, whenever something got tough for me, David Goggins, the real David Goggins, would come out and he would quit. So I realized this over a period of time. So I had to build Goggins. And in that process, I have to go back to that mental lab. And that mental lab is at scratch. That mental lab is in that trained humility. And so that's where I get better. I get better when I'm digging holes in the ground, when I'm waking up early knowing I don't have to do these things. That's where I get better.
I'm telling the truth, which every man knows is intrinsically true in his heart, because God has instilled him with a basic degree of morality of right and wrong. I'm saying things to a 17-year-old boy and he's going, he makes sense. I get it. Everything I was told so far just didn't quite click, but this does. And that's what they're so scared of. I was talking about this the other day. I was talking about how I have a pet peeve, and one of my pet peeves is painkillers. And I was being typical me, and I was going over the top. And I was discussing with this guy. This guy said, have you got any aspirin? I said, there's no aspirin in my house. And he said, why? I said, brother, you are not facing 1% of the life difficulties I am facing. Think about it. No government's trying to lock you up. The Matrix isn't after you. They're not trying to frame you. Nobody wants you dead. When God finally gives you a tiny headache, to give you something to show you're half a man, a little bit of resilience, you pussy out and take an aspirin. You just have a headache. Just have a headache. And not only just have a headache and don't mention it, because I don't care. So don't even talk about it. Nobody needs to know. What do you want? Do you want therapy? You want sympathy? Nobody cares you have a headache. Shut up. Like nearly any problem on earth, whether it's men's mental health, whether it's women's mental health, no matter what it is, whether it's crime, no matter what it is, how do you fix the problem? By building men of caliber, by building men of capability and status and honor and dignity, and by building men of ability to be good standing citizens who are respected by their peers. All of it comes back to improving men. All of it. Every single problem you can possibly name, it comes back to building strong men of capability who are respected. That's all. It's the baseline of humanity. Men always has been the baseline of humanity. And that's why nearly every problem we can name, all of them are in a direct negative correlation with masculinity. As masculinity plummets, all this garbage is going up through the roof. Is that a coincidence? Absolutely not, really not. It's you can literally see it with a graph, and you can see it happening. Saving the way men think and operate, growing a new generation of men who understand they have duty to themselves, their last name, and God, literally saves the world. All of it.
Women respect men who stick by their principles and their beliefs, and the principles and beliefs of a man are always to do what he is supposed to do regardless of how he feels. You must train when you don't feel like training. You must protect when you don't feel like protecting. You must be a good man. And when you're actually a truly good man and a high value man, this is something I absolutely realized in jail. I have no problem suffering if the people I love are not suffering. My children are taken care of. The women I love are taken care of. My mother is taken care of. Everybody around me is fine. Even if they've removed me from my life and locked me in a jail cell, everybody I love is taken care of and is protected and is living good. I must suffer because I am a man. I am the head of my empire. I'm the head of the clan. Of course I will suffer, but the people I love are not suffering.
My coach was saying that you guys can win the Olympics. That's what most kids need to hear. The sense of encouragement, depending where you come from, how you were brought up, how you were raised. Speaking of confidence to a young kid is powerful. Because I believe I can do something. And I just worked hard, extremely hard every single day. You have to believe in yourself. You have to do your version of road work, which could be going to work earlier. The same principles that are required for me to be a champion is applicable in everyday life. And my philosophy is called power, which is prepare, overcome, win every round. It's here and it's here. I create the fight in my head. I see it, I feel it, I taste it. For me, talk about when I lost my first professional fight, which was so devastating, emotionally devastating. Because, like as you stated, my friends, my family, they were trying to calm me down. Although I wasn't crying, I was like hurting inside because it was a fight that I felt that I should have won, I could have won if I had a different game plan. But to help you understand why I went the route that I did was because Roberto Duran was one of the most intimidating fighters ever prior to Mike Tyson. And he cursed me out, he cursed my wife out, and he pushed me, he shot me, he did all those things. He was like a bully, he was a bully. He challenged my manhood, he took my manhood. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna beat this guy at his own game. And I went to that ring and I was fighting toe-to-toe, which I should not have done. I mean, no one likes to lose, no one. But what makes you a winner is coming back, is getting up from knockdowns. And I lived with that for a few months. And I said, you know what, I can beat this guy. So I came back to show Roberto Duran that I can come back. So it was good for me. Well, I tend to choreograph the fight because in my head, I was good at breaking you down. And I would study tapes of you, watch your pet peeves. I would understand what makes you tick, what makes you upset, and I would play on those things. All those things were just, for me, ways of breaking you down, fundamentally, break you down. But more so here, because if I make you miss enough, well, and then I make you pay for those misses, then you doubt yourself. Because that's why they call it the sweet science of boxing. Doubt, first and foremost, is always, let's say, present. Although we won't admit it, but we do doubt ourselves. That comes into play when you're not sure. We're sure what we want, but not really sure how to get there. I pause. Give myself time. And although pause can be 5 seconds, pause can be 10 seconds, it can be 10 minutes, it can be 10 days. You gotta let this thing and this thing come together. Your heart and your mind. It all has to work as a unit, one piece, doing your due diligence to make sure you have all the information. Because when I do my road work is running 4 or 5 miles, but my road work is also checking out and knowing your weak points and strong points. It's all those things that makes a winner. Muhammad Ali gave me some advice many, many years ago. He said, Ray, be your own man, but control your own legacy and sign your own checks. I didn't understand what he was talking about, but I also wanted to be different than most fighters, unfortunately, who have fallen on the wayside. And that was to create my own legacy and maintain. And I was able to do that because I had good people around me. I had good people who were smart, who had morals, who didn't take advantage of me as a young kid, a young teenager, a young fighter.
As we begin to look at what we want, as we begin to look toward the future, what's going to be crucial for you is every time you find yourself saying that you can't do something, you've got to affirm to yourself, hey, no, I can make it. This can happen for me. You've got powers within you, talents within you that you haven't even reached for yet. Now, whatever goal you have, here's what we know. You're going to have some opposition. You're going to have some difficulties. You're going to have some challenges. Long journey, long dark night. But when you hold on to your dream, don't let anybody kill it in you. Just hold on to that dream. When it doesn't make sense to anybody, including you sometimes, just hold on. Once you give yourself an opportunity to try and to stretch, you'll find out you can do more than you can ever begin to imagine.
Why do you have goals? Is it to get the goals? You get the goal. How many have gotten the goal and after you achieved it, you went, is this all there is? That's worse than failing, isn't it? Because most of you, if you fail, you're driven, right? You'll dust yourself up, get up and go for it again. You're going to get there. So I want you to understand something. The purpose of life is not to get your goals. The purpose of life is who you become to achieve your goals.
Stop doing the things that you know are wrong, that you could stop doing. But we will presume that there are things that you're doing that for one reason or another you know are not in your best interests. There's something about them that you just know you should stop. They're kind of self-evident to you. Other things you're going to be doubtful about. You're not going to know which way is up and which way is down. But there are things that you're doing that you know you shouldn't do. But there's another subset that you could stop doing. It might be a little thing. Well, that's fine. Stop doing it and see what happens.
And every day you fight not wanting to get up. and you do anyway. You chip another piece off that fucking rock, and every day you fucking eat the right foods, and every day you go to train, you train harder and harder and harder and harder, and you get up earlier, and all these things you do to start forming yourself. You're chipping another fucking piece of that rock up. Before you know it, you have this beautiful fucking piece of artwork that you built.
Can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? I'm gonna ask you again, can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? If the outcome of the result changes, will you still be the same individual?
You gotta stop waiting for somebody else to give you permission to become the person you want to become. If you want to be an author, write. And as soon as you start writing, you're an author. If you want to become a musician, play music every day, and you're a musician. Nobody needs to give you permission. Your problem is you're up here thinking about it when you need to get out of your head and just start doing it. Because the second you start doing it, you become it.
It doesn't matter what you say. It matters what you do. And if I want to figure out what you believe, I don't ask you. I watch how you act. And I assume that your true beliefs are those that are directing your actions. And so truth is discovered in action. And that's a very different claim, you know, and it's not the claim of a passive observer. It's the claim of someone who's actively interacting with the world. And of course, we are always acting. We're always acting interactively with the world. And not only that, if we don't act interactively with the world, we cease to exist.
Now, the true task is never forgetting it, right? Even when we become successful, even when things go really well and we hit a rough patch. The challenge is never forgetting the spirit, the feeling, the thought process of when we went through those moments of preparation, what it took to get over the hump, to get through the rough patches, and to continue to press forward, right? That's why I always say to people, never allow life to make you forget why you do what you do. Because a cat can become so successful, they can become a victim of their own success.
We all live in this bubble. What you gotta do to get the life that God wants you to have, you gotta put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble.
Whatever happened last week happened last week. Whatever happened last year, your girlfriend dumped you. You gotta get up, look at the man in the mirror and go, this is what I'm doing today, whether they like it or not. I don't give a fuck. Everybody's focusing on the stupidity things that they got on the news. Don't watch the news no more. I give you the real news. You know what the news is about today? You, and how you're gonna conquer the world. How do you become a king? By taking it to the next fucking level. By doing something outside your comfort zone.
Commitment means standing up for your life. It means honoring yourself. We say, oh, it's too hard, it's too hard. We don't challenge our spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing as powerful as the human spirit. You can't destroy it. You can pervert it, but you
can elect to put yourself into a position to become a stronger alloy of whatever the metal is that you're made of. And by purposefully choosing difficult things, you will armor yourself against that situation.
Happiness is an emotional response to an outcome. If I win, I will be happy. If I don't, I won't. It's an if-then, cause and effect, quid pro quo standard that we cannot sustain because we immediately raise it every time we attain it. You see, happiness demands a certain outcome. It is result reliant. And I say if happiness is what you're after, then you're going to be let down frequently, and you're going to be unhappy much of your time. Joy, though, joy is a different thing. It's something else. Joy is not a choice. It's not a response to some result. It's a constant. Joy is the feeling that we have from doing what we are fashioned to do.
You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. That's the challenge. And of course, the other side of the coin reads, unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you got. This is something you attract, not something you pursue. Success is looking for a good place to stay. So instead of going after it, you work on yourself. personal development. See, the major question to ask on the job is not what are you getting? The major question to ask on the job is what are you becoming?
Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes, and it doesn't matter whether it's there or not. Discipline is infinitely more important. No matter how you feel, get up and do what you're supposed to do. That's it. And that's discipline. It's not motivation. If you only did what you were supposed to do when you were motivated to do it, that's leaving it to chance. But if you're disciplined, you go do what you're supposed to do. That's the way it works.
And many people go through life never getting in touch with their greatness because of the lack of motivation to push themselves, or because they have not found something that they believe to be worthwhile to challenge them. I heard a poem once that said, many a flower has bloomed unceasingly and wasted sweetness upon the cold desert air. It's translated, that means simply that many a talented persons have gone unnoticed, and the world never had a chance to be exposed to their talent because that person did not take the time to begin to express or to demonstrate or to motivate themselves in the direction to bring that which they came into the universe to bring.
The whole universe is change, and life itself is but what we deem it. Life itself is but what we deem it. The 8 most profound words in all of philosophy. Things are going to happen. You are going to have experiences in life. Almost all of the important impacts of how those experiences change you are going to be the story that you tell yourself about what that experience means.
There are moments in your life where problems seem as big as a mountain. You don't see the beauty of them because you're looking at it as an obstacle. Stop and look at what you've survived so far. Life is full of ups, downs, hills, valleys, and mountains. And when you do so, you will become a mountain of a man, a mountain of a woman, a mountain of a dreamer, a mountain of an achiever. But you've got to believe that somehow everything that you are going through is developing you for something greater.
Back in the day, this is back in like in the 80s, early 80s, I was like 25, 26. And, you know, I was on top of the world. I had titles, I had money, I had fame. And I wasn't prepared to do anything else. So now all of a sudden I meet new friends, and all those new friends turn me on to something they call cocaine. So I became an addict, I became an alcoholic, and I did all those things and giving myself no respect. And I did that for a couple of years. But the thing about it, I thank God, I'm a blessed man. I am a guy who had good people around him, and also I surrendered myself. If you don't come to grips with who you are, you'll never be happy. I am the happiest I've ever been in my life, because now I'm okay in my own skin. But I am cool with who I am. I mean, I can walk into this room and if no one recognizes me, it's okay. It's okay. I'm okay with who I am. Life is a fight, life is a challenge, and everyone is not nice. Everyone don't have morals. And some people try to take what you have. I mean, all of those things. And I just found a place recently, in the past couple of years, that has made me the man I am today. I've been 10 years sober. It was hard for me to say I'm an alcoholic because I'm sugar ray limited. When I finally was able to say that, my life got better. My life got so much better. And I was sexually abused as a kid. And I kept it to myself for many, many years. It ate at me for so long, and I thought it was just me that happened to me. And at certain times of the year or times of the month, it resurfaced. I never dealt with it. I always pushed it away. And the way I pushed it away was drinking or drugs. It wasn't until I faced the reality of what happened to me and accepted that and moved on that I became a better man, a better father, a better husband. It was such a release. And when I talked about the sexual abuse, I would get so emotional, really, really emotional. It's so vivid in my mind. I could smell his breath, I could smell his body, I could smell it was that real, and it is that real. it took my life away because I was never happy. As much fame as I had or money as I had, I was never happy. I drank to be happy. I did cocaine, a lot of that, to be happy. So my life, for the most part, was shut down, was blacked out. And people saw me. What they saw was an individual who achieved significant stuff, but wasn't really happy because all of a sudden now I'm saying, who likes me for who I am? It was getting to that point. My biggest problem, I suppressed things. I would never tell you what I just told you today. I would keep it to myself. If it's bothering me, if you did something wrong, I wouldn't tell you. Of all the things, I'm non-confrontational. But I found out that stress and keeping things inside can kill you. And it will kill you. There's no greater feeling to me than to give back, to make a difference. Whether it's a phone call to some fan is wonderful. It's something that you don't have to tell me twice. I got a call, and this guy, he was given a few months to live, but he wanted to speak to me. He wanted to say hi. And it's really resonated. It was like, oh. I said, I gotta call this guy. And I did call him. I called him. I spoke with him for about an hour. And I talked to this guy. I was in tears, man. And I said, man, you keep fighting, man. He said, Ray, talking to you right now, man, it has given me so much more life and so much more courage. It's just little things that you do or you can do that makes a difference in someone's life. And I cherish that moment. And I valued that time with that young man. I've been blessed in so many ways. It's nothing for me to make a phone call. But to him, that gave him another day, another week, another month on this earth. It costs nothing to be nice. It costs nothing to be nice.
What's your definition of a life well lived?
It's about pursuing and accomplishing your dreams. I tell people all the time to dream the dream. Because your dreams like your GPS towards your success. So your dreams are what allows you to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's what gives you motivation, determination. And you go for that. And you go for that dream. You reach out and you work hard. Because people tell other people what they can't do. So they tell you, you can't do that. And a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, we believe them. But they're telling you what they can do. Don't let them tell you what you can't do. I talk about success. I talk about victory. Victory is defined in so many ways. For me, my victories are my family, my gold medal, and my gold titles. And for other people, the victories can be promotion, a new home, it can be something simple. No matter how you define victory, you're just gonna go for it. You have to go for it and be the fighter. We are fighters. And if I know anything about fighting, I know how to win.
Why is the truth so important?
You have to have the truth to have a starting point. And your true self is found in that very uncomfortable zone. At the end of the day, I asked myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. Those of you who are listening to this, you will not find it. The only way you find it is to drown yourself in a position where you're just out of sorts, where you can't swim and you're drowning. Where you're drowning. And you say, you know what, man? Dad. Once you come face to face with who you are, you have a starting point. A lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step, so if I choose not to, that's on me. But I got to live with that. Most people think I'm just some grand animal who runs and yells and just says motherfucker all the time. And that's nowhere near the truth. That's maybe what they see in a 1-minute video, and that's what people believe. But there's a lot of thought behind a person being a born loser becoming who I am today. You don't just wake up and just rocky. You gotta wake up and think about, there's a process to getting better. For me, like, I built Goggins from the ground up. I was born David Goggins. David Goggins wasn't good enough. He was a scared, bullied, abused kid. That kid, whenever something got tough, no matter how hard I trained, no matter how ready I was, whenever something got tough for me, David Goggins, the real David Goggins, would come out and he would quit. So I realized this over a period of time. So I had to build Goggins. And in that process, I had to go back to that mental lab. And that mental lab is at scratch. That mental lab is in that trained humility. And so that's where I get better. I get better when I'm digging holes in the ground, when I'm waking up early knowing I don't have to do these things. That's where I get better.
The greatest. Do you believe that? Do you really believe in you? Some people may not have that opportunity to believe in themselves because all their lives, many things has kept them down. The greatest.
I am the greatest.
The greatest of who you really are. Do you really know who you are? Can you identify yourself? Do you see yourself less or do you see yourself more? Do you ultimately believe in you? Or do you let others control what you are and what they think of you? This is not the time to look down on yourself. This is the time for you to look up, to see the greatest, to see the greatness within you. Your creation has meaning. Something great brought you here. There was a purpose, and there's a purpose now. And that purpose is great because you exist in it. Greatness is within you. Greatness is a part of you. But to be great, you got to believe in it. Since the day you were born, greatness was already there. When you had those hard times, greatness was already there. When nobody thought that you had what it took, greatness existed. Hold on to that greatness. Believe in that greatness and give it everything you have within yourself. Losing, sometimes it will happen. But when you lose, make sure you lose the right way. Humble yourself when you lose. Don't be angry because we gotta lose sometimes. Sometimes you may not understand why you're losing, but you will lose. You will fail. But if you're gonna fail, fail the right way. If you're gonna lose, lose the right way. Make sure they remember you. Make sure anything that's coming after you remembers you. They know that, man, I don't want to meet that person again. I don't want to have to fight that person again. I don't want to have to encounter that person again because of the heart and the will that you had within yourself. Don't submit. Don't give up. Fight through it. Push through it. If you're going to lose, lose the right way. Do you understand what that means? Or you're going to just give in? And then when you lose, you're feeling sorry for yourself. You feel that you're not worthy anymore. You feel like everybody's going to talk about you. No, it's not about the people. It's about you. It's about understanding you. All my life, I've been pushing myself. All my life, I've been digging. All my life, I've been going. All my life, I've been thriving. And yes, I've been knocked down. Yes, I've been pushed aside. Yes, I've been rejected. But I kept going. I kept pushing. I kept believing in myself. I'm not saying that you got to be like me. You and me are two different people. You and me don't necessarily connect on everything. But you got to connect to something. You got to believe in something. You got to understand that it's going to take more grit and more will when it comes to what it is that you are seeking in your life. Because if you're holding on to things, if you're holding on to excuses, if you're holding on to fear, then there's no faith. Whether you win, whether you lose, don't give up. If you lose, lose. Humble yourself. Work harder and go again. Competition, that's life. Doesn't matter what you got going on. If you're in sports, doesn't matter. Somebody out there is a little bit hungrier than you are, then you got to get a little bit hungrier than them. If something out there that is chasing you and trying to destroy you and bring you down and trying to take everything from you, you got to be greater than the things that is trying to take you out. This is your time right now. And it's only a short time. You got a short window. Don't let that window close. Get through it and go after it. Believe in it and understand it, because it's yours. If you're going to lose, make sure you do it the right way. Quitting is easy. Anybody can do it. If you fail, learn from it and build on it. But don't you give up. Fight, push, dig, and go after it. And make the most of your life. Stand tall and believe in it and work at it each and every day of your life. Let the challenges come. Do whatever you got to do and keep it moving. Hard times do come and then they go. But there are going to be other things that you're going to have to face in your lifetime. You have to understand the significance and what hard times are and what do they mean. And what does it do for you as an individual, for all of us as human beings. These things must happen. It's ordained. It must come in our lives. If we are going to build, if we're going to be strong, then we must understand what it means to be weak. Because you can't be strong without weakness. And you can't be strong if you don't have anything to fall back on. Because these things that you are dealing with right now in your life, it will build you up or it will destroy you.
You don't have to end this life with regret. You don't have to sit at your bedside and wonder what could have been. You can change right now. You can change the direction of your life. You can change the direction of every relationship. But it begins with your relationship with you.
Your presence on this planet is no accident, and you are absolutely here for a purpose. You've been given a gift. It's your genius, and it's intended to bring joy to your life and to lift the lives of those around you.
I want you to understand this. If you want to bring out the best in others, start with the mirror. So many people are trying to persuade others, trying to influence others, trying to bring out the best in others, but they're not starting with themselves. It all starts with you. It starts there because when you bring out the best in you, you are very contagious.
If a person would sit down and let their body relax, totally relax, and then start to visualize in their mind, see themselves the way they want to see themselves, and see how you'd like to live your life, see yourself living it that way. Okay. Now understand that that's a picture in your mind. When you pick up a book, the book is nothing but a picture that an author has painted in words. Dream my painting, and then I paint my dream. We become what we think about. Now, it may be fantasy at first. It might even appear to us as being a lie. But if you read it often enough, you'll start to believe it.
Listen to me, man. You have a great life in front of you, but your great life is in front of you. It's not behind you.
You must come to peace and come to terms with everything that you've ever faced. There are things that have fortified a different aspect of your life because of trauma that happened as a child. You've got to be willing to let go of that, and so you can embrace the adult that you are now. You cannot get rescued by anyone but you. Because if other people grab and reach in and try to pull you out, you'll defend the small child you were that was taken advantage of. But if you can look into your past and look at your life and realize that the times you were most vulnerable and there was no one there to protect you, that was not a time when you were made a victim. That was a time when you became victorious.
You embrace the challenge. It's a test. It's a way to prove yourself. It's a way to toughen yourself up. We can compare the attitude to the aperture of a lens. When you are fearful, that aperture tends to close down, giving you a narrow perspective on the world. If you take in less, you have less to fear. But as your mind closes down, you miss seeing opportunities and coming up with new ideas. But if that lens opens up and expands, suddenly you can see all kinds of combinations and connections out there in the world that nobody else is seeing because of their fearful, closed lens, the way they're looking at the world. In this case, the chaos of the world is not something to fear, but something to exploit. This is the source of all creative thinking.
That's why you got to work on yourself. Because life will send you some curves you cannot anticipate. Whatever you do, you want to develop technical mastery. You want to be the best at what you do. You want to master it. See, part of self-motivation is you've got to find something that gives you a strong sense of competence. When you become known for that, you develop a reputation of being good at doing that. You set some high personal standards for yourself. You're not competing with anybody else. You're just unfolding yourself to be the best person that you could be.
I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. Because almost everything, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. There is no reason not to follow your heart.
This is the instinct that says, you've had enough. This is the instinct that says, you've given it your best shot. You can stand down. You can back off. You can take a knee. This is the instinct that says, you can rest now. Do not listen to that instinct. Do not listen. That instinct is a liar and wants to bring you down. That's the instinct that's a defense mechanism. It wants to give you an out, a place to run to, little place of sympathy.
You see, the path that you're on is up to you. Put one foot in front of the other and start marching. Start chasing down the canopy. Stop looking behind you. You are evolved. Those are in your past. And there is nothing you need. There's a period at the end of that chapter. But this chapter, this is your comeback year. This is your comeback moment. This is when you get up. This is your moment in Rocky when you've been knocked down 10 times, but you still won't quit. This is where you get up and you fight, and you'll get up before the count of 10. You're not a quitter. You're the winner.
We all have things that we're believing for, dreams that we want to accomplish, problems we're hoping will turn around. Maybe it's to see our family restored, to lose some weight, to break an addiction, to start our own business. But sometimes as it goes on month after month, even year after year, we don't see anything changing. It's easy to get discouraged and think, it's never going to happen. This is as good as it gets. I'll just learn to live with it. We all go through disappointments, setbacks, loss. Pain is a part of life. It's easy to get discouraged, even bitter. Think, why is this happening to me? Sometimes we look at pieces in our lives that don't make sense. The key is what we do in our times of pain. Pain will change us. Heartache, loss, disappointments, they don't leave us the same. Every painful time, even though you don't like it, it's developing something in you that can only be developed in the tough times. Eventually, that will pass. You'll get through it, but you will be different. In those tough times, when you're uncomfortable, going through a loss, dealing with an illness, you can easily let it overwhelm you. Now, how the pain changes you is up to you. You can come out bitter, or you can come out better. You can come out defeated, giving up on your dreams, or you can come out with a new passion, a new fire, excited about the new opportunities in front of you. I may not like it, but I'm not a whiner. I'm a warrior. I know I can handle this. Don't complain about the pain. Without the pain, we couldn't reach the fullness of our destinies. Sometimes we bring pain on ourselves. We make poor choices, get in a relationship we know is not good, or maybe get over our head in our spending. Now it's painful. We're having to deal with the consequences. All of us experience pain. My challenge, don't just go through it, grow through it. That difficulty is an opportunity to get stronger, to develop character, to gain new confidence. Anybody can give up. Anybody can let it overwhelm you. But you know what that's doing? Wasting your pain. That pain is not there to stop you. It's there to prepare you, to increase you, to develop you. Difficulties are a part of life. Now quit telling yourself you can't take it. You're not weak. You are well able. Eventually the pain will pass. You'll give birth to new strength. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. And there will always be forces trying to convince us to settle where we are. Life has a way of pushing our dreams down. They can become buried under discouragement, buried under past mistakes. There are dreams buried under divorce, buried under low self-esteem. It's easy to settle for mediocrity even though we have all this potential buried on the inside. What are you remembering? The hurt, the pain, what didn't work out? Turn it around and remember your dream. Have you allowed any dreams to get buried in you? At one time, you believed you could do something great. You believed you could lead the company in sales. You believed you could break that addiction. It's been a long time. Had some bad breaks. Wasn't all your fault. You could easily settle where you are. Nobody would fault you. The enemy would love to deceive you into burying your dream, thinking that it's never going to work out. Don't believe those lies. It's not too late to become all that you were created to be. Every time you remember your dream, you're removing some dirt. You're digging it back out. The true mark of a champion is even though some dirt gets thrown on your dream, instead of letting it get buried, you keep shaking it off. You keep moving forward. You wouldn't be having that opposition if you didn't have something great in you. If your dream wasn't alive and on track, right on schedule to come to pass, you wouldn't have so many things coming against you. That dream is still alive. You may have tried a year ago, 5 years ago, or 40 years ago. Didn't work out. Nobody was there to help you. Go back and try again. This is your time. This is your moment. Your destiny is calling out to you. Can I tell you, your dream is not dead. It's just not in season. Your time is coming. Promotion is coming. Good breaks are coming. Promises you've been standing on. Dreams you've been praying about. Lack is not your destiny. Constantly struggling, barely getting by is not the end of your story. These light afflictions are for a moment. The adversity is temporary. The glory is eternal. There are some dreams shut up in you. Like fire, you're going to feel your destiny calling out. May not have happened the first time. The loan didn't go through. You didn't get chosen for the part. The medical report wasn't good. That's okay. It's still in you. This is your time. This is your moment. Shake off the doubt. Shake off the negativity. You're at the right place. You're at the right time. Now all you've got to do is get in the right frame of mind. Lord, I believe this is my year to get healthy and whole. This is my year to meet the people of my dreams. This is my year to go further in my career, to step into a new level of my destiny. This is my year to accomplish dreams, to break free from this depression. This is my year to meet the right people. This is my year to get healthy and whole. This is your year to see double. This is your year for vindication, for restoration, for new beginnings. Now get your mind going in the right direction.
So how does a lion become the king of the jungle? His mentality.
You have heard it said that lions are the king of the jungle. But have you ever stopped and asked yourself, why?
How can he be the king of the jungle? If he's not the biggest, the elephant is probably one of the biggest. He can't be the fastest because that's a cheetah. He can't be the smartest, so he's not the biggest, the fastest, or the smartest. So how does a lion become the king of the jungle?
What separates the lion from the rest of the animals that crowns him as the king of the jungle?
His mentality. That's the only difference of a lion and an elephant.
It's the way a lion thinks.
When a lion walks up and sees an elephant, he thinks lunch. An elephant thinks run.
The animal kingdom respects the lion more than any other animal in the jungle. You see, lions hunt during storms, and they do most of their hunting at night. They hunt during storms because the noise and the wind makes it hard for prey to see and hear them. That's the lion's mentality.
And it's all mentality.
Lions walk around fearlessly, and they are in charge of their own destiny. I'm going to need you to tap into your lion mentality and conquer your territory. You do not have to be the biggest. You do not have to be the smartest. You do not have to be the fastest. But you must adopt the mindset of a lion.
Have the love for your grit. Have the love with every rep that you push out. It is up to you to get the most of everything that you work so hard for.
What is the lion's mentality? Fearless courage, bravery, leadership, never willing to surrender, and will fight unto death. Do you have a lion's mentality?
Are you prepared to work? Are you prepared to give? You got to fight. You got to push. You got to give everything you have. All you need is the power, the strength, and the tenacity to give it everything you got.
Maybe you're just buried in debt, bills. Maybe you need to stand up for something you love or believe in that others don't understand. Don't stop. Do not give up. Do not give in. Be courageous. Be fearless in going after what it is you want to manifest in your life. Maybe you have tried time and time again and nothing has worked. Maybe you have become discouraged because you have been on the hunt for your goals for years with no rewards. Let me share something with you. Lions only hunt 2 hours a day and sleep the other 16 to 20 hours. A lion knows within those 2 hours, they have to give it everything that they have, and everyone better get out of their way because they're going to destroy anything in their path. You must keep hunting. You must keep fighting. There's no guarantee that anything will pay off today. But if you keep going, there are possibilities. The only guarantee is failure if you quit. The guarantee of missing out on your next opportunity and creating the life that you claim you want for yourself.
It ain't gonna be easy. It's not gonna be a walk in the park. There's always more to give. You got to be willing to sacrifice. You got to be willing to hurt. You got to be willing to yell out. Whatever it takes, keep pushing forward. Don't you give up on your life.
Be brave. The lion is brave. Lions are ready to face danger and pain, and they go in 100%. Lions cannot afford to second guess their ability because it could cost them their life. How different would your life be if you were as brave as the lion? What could you accomplish? What would you attempt? What if you decided to believe in yourself and the gifts that you possess? How far could you go? How far could you climb if you just believed in your abilities?
What sets you apart from the pack? Once an obstacle confronts you, you're gonna kick it down. You're gonna overcome. You're gonna rise.
If you trust yourself, it will come to you at the right time in which you need it.
I have too much to accomplish to be satisfied with where I am right now.
Prey doesn't lie there waiting to be eaten. Prey runs, jumps, and does whatever it is necessary to survive the unbreakable bravery of a lion. The lion doesn't stop fighting because if prey puts up a fight. How would your life change if you continue to fight in the face of adversity? What dreams would you accomplish? What barriers could you break down if you kept fighting, even though life is putting up a fight? You're responsible for your results. You know what's best for you, and only you know what it requires to live the life you want to live.
You are enough and you have what you need to succeed. You are enough. You're equipped for greatness. You're powerful beyond your greatest imagination.
This is the now, and I want to see you working. I want you to dig. I want you to feel it. I want you to struggle. I want you to hurt. I want you to bleed. I want you to fight, because this is that time. Show the world and show up and show out. You got to understand that it takes grit, passion, and determination to get to the level of where you want to be. Beyond the sky, there's a great big universe. Now, what are you going to do about it?
Be brave. Never surrender. Only you know which path to take in each moment of your life. You must approach the path with bravery. Never surrender. Lions never surrender because they have heart. Lions are the king of the jungle, and they cannot show any signs of weakness. Lions do not make excuses. They execute. And no matter how outnumbered they are, they're willing to die for their dignity. Do you have what it takes to keep going? Do you have what it takes to go that extra mile? Do that extra push-up? Run that extra lap? Lift that extra weight? What if you don't surrender? They may be smarter than you. They may be faster than you. They may be bigger than you. But because you have the mentality of a lion, you will win. You will not be dethroned. You will not be defeated. You will not be detached from your purpose. You will have everything you want because there's a lion within.
But I'm king of my jungle because of my mentality.
It's all in your mind. Whatever you hold in your mind will tend to occur in your life. If you continue to believe as you have always believed, you will continue to act as you have always acted. If you want different results in your life or your work, all you have to do is change your mind.
I need you to do me a favor. Do more than just exist. Do more than just stand around and wait for good things to happen to you. That's not how the world works, and that's certainly not how your dreams work. Those high goals and aspirations that you have for yourself, those same ones that you have on your vision board that you've prepared for 2024, it's not just gonna come to you.
I need you to confront you because you're the one holding you up. I need you to confront you. I need you to look in the mirror and tell you, you are not gonna do me like this no more.
Life is shorter than you think. Okay, you're thinking, wow, I've got 10 years to figure it all out. I've got all these vistas of time. I'm young, I'm healthy, etc. You don't have nearly as much time as you think you do. It goes very fast. So you need a sense of urgency and energy.
Opportunity mixed with difficulty. Opportunity mixed with challenge. We've got a chance to grow like never before, but I'm telling you, there's going to be many enemies that's going to try to prevent us. As soon as you plant the garden, the busy bugs and the noxious weeds are out to take it, and you've got to learn not only to nourish your values, you've got to learn to do battle with your enemies. Whatever threatens you, I'm asking you to threaten it back.
You know you're aiming high enough when you know you have to stretch in order to achieve them. Stretch mentally, stretch in your skill set, stretch in the rooms that you need to walk into, stretch in the conversations that you have to have. The conversations necessary to bring out the best in you. Because the tragedy of life is not having a target too high and missing it. It's having a target that's too low and hitting it.
It doesn't matter where you are in life. It really doesn't. Because the great thing about life is it's always your next move. Your next move that counts. No matter where you are.
Consider your craft as an energy alive in you. It's just as much a part of the cycle of evolution as other living things are. It wants to grow. It wants to flower. To hone your craft is to honor creation. It doesn't matter if you become the best in your field. By practicing to improve, you're fulfilling your ultimate purpose on this planet.